Welcome to this series of lectures about the thermal quality of indoor environments and homeostasis. In this introductory lecture, you will learn about the definition of thermal quality and the parameters that determine this quality. You will also get basic insights into how the human body controls in and outgoing energy flows to maintain a thermal balance, which is called homeostasis. This outdoor environment on the picture has excellent air quality, lighting quality, and even sound quality. The thermal quality seems to be very good as well. We can imagine a gentle breeze, nicely cool, pleasant temperature and warmth from solar radiation, not too humid, kind of perfect. But unfortunately, in many parts of the world, it is not like that. Depending on location and season, the weather may be awful, much too cold, windy or rainy, or much too warm and dry. One of the most important functions of a building is to offer shelter against unwanted weather, allowing a better environment for living, sleeping, working, creating or socializing. Even if indoor environments protect us against extreme and unwanted weather conditions, these environments may be far from ideal from health and comfort point of view, as you may remember from other lectures. And as we spend on average 80% of our times indoors, it is surely worth to pay attention to it. Thermal comfort is one of the aspects of indoor quality. Together with lighting, it is the most well-known factor, as most energy systems in buildings are especially designed to provide lighting and heating and cooling when needed. There is an official definition of thermal comfort to be found in ISO standard 7730. Thermal comfort is the state of mind that expresses satisfaction with the thermal environment. It can be expressed into observable parameters. Although this definition may seem vague at first sight, it is an important one. The first sentence tells us that thermal comfort is a human perception of the thermal environment, a state of mind. As everyone is unique and the state of mind may change in time, there may be many different perceptions of the same thermal environment. A perception may also be influenced by the possibility to control the environment. A lack of control possibility on the environment may cause psychological stress. The second sentence of the definition tells us that it is possible to express thermal comfort into observable parameters, and this is very important for engineers and designers, giving them the possibility to design thermally comfortable indoor environments. This part of the course is about these parameters. Note that this definition does not address any health aspects. Of course, we all know that heat stress, like a heat stroke, can lead to death, just as hypothermia. But having said this, a comfortable environment is not necessarily an unhealthy one, and vice versa. There are recent studies indicating that continuous exposure to thermal neutral conditions, which is another word for comfortable conditions, might be related to overweight. There are also indications by studies, for instance by Professor van Marken Lichtenbelt at Maastricht University, that exposure to a bit too warm or too cold conditions may be beneficial for metabolic and cardiovascular health. To understand the properties of comfortable environments, it is useful to have a basic understanding of the self-regulating processes in human body. Homeostasis is the state of conditions ensuring optimal functioning of the body. Body temperature is one of these conditions, and it must be kept within very narrow limits. Other parameters may be things like blood sugar level or concentrations of sodium or calcium. To maintain life, these conditions must be regulated within preset values, whatever the outdoor environment is. So, human body must be able to deal with changes in the environment, like weather or diet. We saw at the beginning of this lecture that our feeling of thermal comfort depends a lot on parameters in our environment like air temperature, wind, solar radiation, and humidity. These parameters influence the thermal balance of the body. It can then tend to lose too much heat, possibly leading to hypothermia, or it can tend to gain or keep too much energy, leading to overheating. Our body tries continuously to control internal parameters in order to restore homeostasis. The picture here shows the control system of the sympathetic nervous system, which regulates body temperature by unconscious actions. The regulation by conscious actions and adaptation, like putting on a sweater when it is too cold or searching for shadow when it is too hot, are not pictured here. But they are, of course, of main importance as well, and we will come back to them in another lecture. For now, let's focus on the sympathetic system. Basically, there are three parts in any control system. Sensors, sending signals to a controller analyzing the received signals, taking decisions what to do, and sending signals about what to do to the actuators. And finally, we have the actuators doing what is asked. Let's start with the controller, the hypothalamus in our brain. It assures that the body's core temperature is kept at approximately 37 degrees and the skin temperature at about 34 degrees Celsius. These values are average and may vary a bit per person. What are now the possibilities for actuation? You see in the picture 4 blocks going from blue to orange. In blue, the unconscious actions taking place when the body is too hot and needs to be cooled. In orange, the actions taking place when the body is too cold and needs to be heated. When the body becomes too warm, 2 processes are initiated. First, the blood vessels widen, increasing the blood flow through the skin. This is called vasodilatation. The higher the flow, the higher the heat transferred to the outside. Because of the dilatation, the vessels also come closer to the skin surface. This also increases the heat transfer to outside. Second, one begins to sweat. Sweating is a very effective cooling tool because the energy required for evaporating the sweat is taken from the skin, just like with evaporative cooling systems that you may remember from another course. Already a few tenths of degrees departure from the core temperature can stimulate sweating. However, if the air is too humid, this will limit sweating. If the body is too cold, the first reaction is for the blood vessels to shrink, reducing the blood flow through the skin. This is called vasoconstriction. The lower the blood flow, the less the heat transfer to the outside. Because of the shrinking, the vessels also come deeper under the skin surface. This also decreases the heat transfer to outside and helps keeping the heat stored in the body. The second reaction is to increase the internal heat production by stimulating the muscles, which is causing shivering. Shivering is a trembling of the muscles, and trembling is a rapid movement. In terms of thermodynamics, movement is a form of energy that we call mechanical work. The human body has a very poor efficiency, meaning that a lot of energy is needed for a little bit of work. The part of the energy that is not used as work is dissipated as heat in the body. Even the work itself ends up as energy because of the principle of conservation of energy. Part of this heat goes outdoor, but another part remains inside the body. Shivering is therefore an efficient way of producing additional heat. In addition to this, broad adipose tissues, also called brown fat, play a role in thermoregulation. Newborn and children have much more brown fat than adults. Basically, brown fat converts an excess of energy in the body, for instance from food, into heat in a combustion reaction. In a warm environment, this combustion is deactivated, while a cold environment or an infection will activate this combustion. Both shivering and brown fat burning are part of the thermogenesis process, the production of heat. Additionally, hair on the body contributes somehow to keep heat inside when lying or can help releasing heat if erected. Let's now take a look at the sensoring part below in the figure. Two types of sensors are located in the skin. There are cold sensors, which come in action when the skin temperature falls below 34 degrees, and heat sensors coming in action when the skin temperature rises above 34 degrees. When the skin temperature falls below 34, our cold sensors begin to send pulses to the brain, and as the temperature continues to fall, more pulses are sent. Similarly, the heat sensors send pulses when the skin temperature exceeds 34 degrees. At the same time, blood temperature is registered by the hypothalamus and controlled around 37 degrees. The brain interprets the signals, and next to triggering conscious reactions like eating, drinking, or changing activity and clothing, also triggers the reaction we just studied in the slide before. Just like we can make an energy balance on a building, we can make an energy balance on the body. If there is a positive unbalance, too much heat is accumulated and the body must be cooled down using either conscious actions like putting clothing off or searching for shadow, or unconscious actions like sweating and vasodilatation. If there is a negative unbalance, too less heat is delivered or kept into the body. To counteract that, either conscious actions like putting clothing on or looking for a heat source are needed, or unconscious actions like vasoconstriction, shivering, and brown fat thermogenesis. Thermal comfort models addressing conscious actions are called adaptive models. The thermal model addressing unconscious actions is known as the Fonger model. Let's come back to indoor comfort. It is defined by air quality, lighting quality, sound quality, and 6 parameters relating to the thermal comfort. These 6 parameters relate closely to the thermal balance and body temperature control, as they influence strongly the heat balance. Obviously, everyone is very aware of the importance of the indoor air temperature in the sensation of comfort. Many people would also name airflows. A bit of draft can be experienced as very nice in hot summer, but very unpleasant in winter. Humidity is also known to affect a lot people's comfort. But even important are 3 other parameters. The radiation temperature, which is the temperature of the surrounding surfaces like walls and windows, the type of clothes the occupant is wearing, and the type of activity performed. These parameters will be addressed in following lectures, as well as the Fonger and adaptive models. Summarizing this lecture, you have learned that 6 parameters are responsible for thermal comfort. Body temperature control, also called homeostasis, is based on thermoreceptors in skin and blood. The hypothalamus controls both these temperatures by triggering unconscious actions to cool or heat the body. Cooling the body takes place through vasodilatation and sweating, while heating takes place via vasoconstriction, shivering, and burning excess energy through brown fat tissues. Finally, signals for conscious actions are given as well. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you for your attention.